25 styles of cabinetry for you to choose from.
When you need to save on discount windows, doors, and cabinetry, come to Norm's Bargain Barn. With locations in Shiloh and Fenton at the bottom of Gravois Bluffs. Visit normsbargainbarn.com.
That's normsbargainbarn.com.
This is the Verizon Extra Innings Show. Verizon, the most reliable 5G in St. Louis.
From the stretch, the runner goes, the pitch, a little tapper right back to the mound. Zastryzny throws Devon, and this ball game has come to an end. Burleson grounds out. The Brewers win game one of the three-game series, 8-2.
The tough road trip does continue for the Cardinals. They lose tonight to the Brewers by an 8-2 score. And with that, we do welcome you in to the Extra Innings Show. The Extra Innings Show being presented by Gray Bar. Gray Bar is your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. My name is Matt Pauley. If you want to join the program, there are multiple ways to get connected with us. You can call or text 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And for those of you who are watching us on the video stream, you can just leave a comment in the chat, and we will certainly address those as we go along throughout the course of the show tonight. Couple things to get to. First off, the performance of the team in the game, not great. That third inning was not a good inning. Just a lot of mistakes made. That's mistakes made in issuing walks, mistakes made in not making plays in the outfield. It was just an ugly inning. It was an ugly inning for the Cardinals, and it kind of felt like that was the beginning of the end on this one. And then I think the news that we just got is the bigger deal, that the season is over for Mason Wynn. We have been talking about this a lot. If you listen to a lot of KMOX Sports, whether it's Redbird Rush Hour, Sports Open Line, Gas House Gang, Sports on a Sunday Morning, wherever you happen to be listening, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not it was safe and smart and all those sort of things for Mason Wynn to continue to go out and play on the torn meniscus. And the Cardinals kept telling us that there was no chance for any type of, injury to be increased or made worse. People like me would bring up the idea that, okay, even if you can't make that injury worse, you just had Brendan Donovan hurt his groin because of a foot issue. You just had Nolan Arenado hit his shoulder because of a finger issue. Like, you overcompensate. So was there any chance for that? So I think a lot of people thought that continuing to play Mason Wynn was risky because of what it might eventually turn into. Well, that conversation is moot now because they're done. They're done with Wynn for the season, and he'll get that surgery here very soon. And the surgery is not expected. It's supposed to be a quick recovery, not something that's going to impact his preparation for the 2026 season. 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. Tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air, or leave a comment in the chat, and we'll get to those. In fact, let's grab one right now. Sam sends in a message, says, you can't walk guys and make errors and expect to win, and it's a tough deal for Mason Wynn. He's a heck of a shortstop and should win the Gold Glove. So a couple things there from Sam, and those are two main points. That third inning where it goes walk, and then they rule it a bunt single on Joey Ortiz, but it should have been a hit, and then a bases loaded walk. And then Jackson Churio hits a sacrifice fly, but there's an error on the play where Jordan Walker is assessed with a throwing error. And then Bryce Terang reaches on a fielder's choice where they go home, and Jimmy Crooks can't hold on to the throw. So either walks or plays not made. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight plate appearances. 6 straight plate appearances. That was either a walk or a play that arguably should have been made that was not made. Sam's right when he says you can't win games walking guys and making errors. And I know not every single one of those went down as an error, but again, it was 6 straight at-bats where the Cardinals either walked somebody or didn't make a play, whether it was ruled an error or not. Just a really frustrating inning. Really, really frustrating inning. On Wynn winning the Gold Glove, I think he should win the Gold Glove. Let me be Let me start with that. I believe that Mason Wynn should be the National League Gold Glove winner at shortstop. Here's the argument against it. This is the argument you're going to be hearing. I'm not making this argument. I'm just telling you this is the argument people are going to make. The argument against it is going to be number of games, number of innings this year for Wynn. I gotta do a little research. I believe, and if somebody wants to correct me on this, I will take the correction because I don't have the numbers in front of me right now. So I will gladly be corrected if I've got this one wrong. But I believe at 129 games and the innings in the field for Wynn this year, that would be the lowest number for a shortstop to win the Gold Glove ever. I believe that's right. Again, feel free to correct me on that one. If I got it wrong, I'll be the first one to tell you I got it wrong. But I believe I saw that recently. If it's not that, it's very close to that. So that's going to be the argument against, right? And we have this argument all the time with starting pitchers going for the Cy Young Award because, like, since the Cardinals are playing the Brewers, the year that Corbin Burns won the Cy Young with Milwaukee, the argument against Burns as the Cy Young Award winner that year was the number of innings that he'd thrown, a number of games that he had thrown. So you're gonna hear that explanation. Steve mentions that Rafael Palmeiro won a Gold Glove with a ridiculously low games played in the field one year. I'd have to go look that up. But again, I'm specifically mentioning shortstop. I don't think this would be across the board. And specific. Look, shortstop is one of those positions where there very much is an expectation that you're basically playing every single day. And Wynn tried to do that. I think it's sometimes the Cardinals actually pushed it too much. We had been calling for Wynn to get a few more days off, but a standard has been set by the top shortstops in the history of baseball, and it's something that hasn't changed that much, that the top shortstops do indeed play just about every single night. So we'll see. That's going to be something to see moving forward. Maybe I'm being melodramatic here. I might be, because there's still a fair amount. But I remember the night that Adam Wainwright won his 200th game, and if you remember that had been a thing, right? That when it became very clear that the Cardinals were not going to have a very good record, not be a playoff team, yada yada yada. At that point, the thing that we were all watching for was whether or not Wainwright would get to 200 wins. And I remember the night he got the 200 wins, and there was still a little bit of baseball season left. And that night it kind of felt like, okay, it's sort of over now. Like, yeah, there's some games to be played, but sort of this was the last thing to be accomplished this year. And it's not as strong of a feeling. I still think there's value left in the games that are going to be played this year. Watching what happens as they navigate some of these players coming back from the injured list, and players trying to post and all these things. It's not like that nothing matters, but the biggest thing that was still on the line, I think, for this team this year was the idea of Mason Wynn playing for a Gold Glove. And he's not playing for a gold. Now it's in the past tense, right? Mason Wynn has played for a Gold Glove, and now we have to wait and see if he's going to win it. But his playing is over. So, again, I'm being melodramatic at 10:45 p.m. right now, but I don't know. It just kind of, Wynn season coming to an end, to me, it kind of just feels like one of those things that marks what more is there left to accomplish here in this season over the final couple weeks of the year. All right, we will take a break. Again, if you want to chime in, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air, or leave a comment on the chat if you are watching the video stream. We've got more in just a moment. Cardinals lose tonight in Milwaukee to the Brewers 8-2. This is the Extra Innings Show right here on KMOX.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we are more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. From startups to established
was that.
Now, back to the Verizon Extra Inning Show.
Cardinals lose tonight as they fall to the Brewers 8-2. Welcome back in. This is the Extra Inning Show here on KMOX. If you'd like to join in, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900. 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. Joseph says if the Cardinals get to 76 wins this year, he would be flabbergasted. I don't know. Look, I thought they were going to be above 500 team when the season got started, right? And I backed off that when they made the moves at the deadline. I still thought I was encouraged when they had that last homestand and they got back to 500. 4 straight losses here. We'll see what happens over the next games against the Brewers, but Brewers really have something to play for, and this is going to be tough. They're at 72. I do think they get more than 76 when all is said and done, but I don't know how many more, I guess. Joseph adds on that says the runway season was definitely a success. Bloom shouldn't feel guilty trading anyone but Wynn. Yeah, I don't think anybody's untouchable right now, even Mason Wynn. Now, Wynn is a guy I think can be a really important part for this team, but if you just get blown away with an offer for Wynn, I guess it depends on, internally what Chaim Bloom is thinking on when this team is going to be back competing at a pretty high level. If he thinks this is a 3-4 year project, then you're okay moving on from Mason Wynn if you get blown away. If you think you can take a step forward in 26 and take a big step forward in 27, then it's a little bit of a different situation at that point. Text message comes in from the 314. Says, as a baseball fan and sports reporter, it must be hard having swapped cities from Milwaukee to St. Louis in the last 3 years, 2 organizations that are so incredibly different in how to build a team and win games. I mean this when I say this. I would have made that move 100 times out of 100 times, and no matter how well the Brewers play baseball, and they are playing some really, really good baseball, I have never regretted that move to come back home to St. Louis and to work for KMOX and work for the Cardinal Radio Network. It's one of the single greatest things that has happened in my life from a professional standpoint and from a personal standpoint after you get past getting married and having kids and all those sort of things. And I'm not just like trying to kiss anybody's backside. I am being genuine and honest when I tell you how much I love being able to talk about Cardinals baseball every night and being on this station. So do I wish the Cardinals were equal to the success of the Brewers since I left Milwaukee? Yeah, I do. That would have been nice. Although I still take credit. When I left Milwaukee in the middle of the season in 22, the Brewers were in first place and the Cardinals weren't, and the Cardinals caught the Brewers and won the division that year. So I take credit for that. I don't take credit for anything that's happened since then, but I take credit for what happened immediately following the move. But that's an interesting text. I appreciate that. Text message from the 641 says, in no way am I a Marmol fan, but I think he's done a good job for what he has. He has been dealt a mediocre hand at best. I appreciate that text a lot. It means a lot to me when people who are not huge fans of Oliver Marmol acknowledge the fact that this ain't on him. This isn't on him. It's just not. And, I'll bring up the run differential. When the Cardinals were 500 a few days ago, they were the only team in the National League with a negative run differential and a 500 record. They're now at negative 52 runs scored, and they're only 4 games under 500. Like, this is not on Oliver Marmol. The roster's not good enough. We could sit here and talk about what has to happen with this team, but it is a roster issue. It is 100% a roster issue, and I think Oliver Marmol's done a good job. Even if you're not an Oliver Marmol fan, I think if you're being fair about it, you can acknowledge the fact that this is not Oliver Marmol's fault with what's happening this year. What's on Deck is presented by Chesterfield Fence and Deck. It is game 2 of the series tomorrow night. Sonny Gray goes for the Cardinals, 13-8, 4.45 ERA. Jacob Mizorowski is going to go for the Brewers. 5-2, a 4.09 ERA, 7:15 first pitch, and the pregame coverage is set to begin at 6:20. Certainly appreciate you being with us tonight, spending the beginning of your weekend with us. We'll have Cardinals baseball all weekend long. Joe Pott will be taking care of you on the pregame and the postgame all weekend long. I'll be back with you coming up on Monday. So have a great weekend. Enjoy Cardinals baseball right here on KMOX.
There is no doubt about it. The MVP of Outdoor Solutions is